Central City with news from across the state. This is MetroNews Midday, presented by Salango Law, with 13 News and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and MetroNews' Dave Allen.
Welcome into the 2 o'clock hour, final hour this week. MetroNews Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Ryan Nicholson, our producer today. We'll get to Open Line West Virginia coming up at the bottom of the hour. Nothing but your calls and text at 1-800-765-TAOK, or you can text 304-TALK-304. It's MetroNews Midday.
MetroNews Midday is presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com. Join in by calling 800-765-8255 or text 304-TALK-304. Let's go live to downtown Charleston. Here's Dave Allen.
It's a very, very warm Friday afternoon across the great state of West Virginia. We'll take it. Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Open Line West Virginia coming up at the bottom of the hour. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today, and as we do every Friday afternoon, we get you ready for a busy weekend of sports. And oh, yes, if you're a basketball fan, high school, college, even pros, which I'm not a big fan of. We'll stick with high school and college. It is the most wonderful time of the year. Tom Bragg, MetroNews Sports, joins us now. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Dave.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right.
You liking this weather?
Oh, man, loving the weather. Looking forward. It's spring break in Kanawha County for the kids next week. It's a good time for it. It seems like spring might be springing right now.
Springing. Well, I'll tell you, we could use it because we had a pretty rough winter.
Yeah.
And I actually, at one point, I get to the building around 7 or so in the morning, and I'm upstairs tucked away. They keep me away out of general population.
Sure.
And I'm up
Smart
there.
move.
I'm up there tucked away in my little cubicle, and I was like, before midday started, I need to walk. And I literally walked out the front door at 11:11, did a lap around the parking lot, and was like, so this is what the outdoors is like. This is what the parking lot at 11:11 looks like when there's no snow on it. And,
it had been a while.
And I just walked back in and came back in here. But, I'm going to try to get out and do something. I don't know what, but something. Tom Bragg is here with our Weekend Sports Blitz, getting you ready for a busy, busy weekend.
Yeah.
Mountaineer basketball team. Their final game of the regular season coming up, right? Is that right?
Yeah, they got the last game of the regular season tonight at home against UCF. I believe that's an 8 o'clock tip. And not much as far as NCAA considerations are concerned at stake. But, man, Big 12 tournament, it's a big game for the Mountaineers. You win this game tonight, you get to 500 in the league, which I think is kind of a nice thing to hang your hat on. First year for Coach Hodge. It's been kind of up and down. Be able to get back to that even level watermark in the league, I think, would be a nice little thing for them. But also, it could bump them up into that 7-8 seed, depending on how some other things fall. But you get to 7 or 8 in the Big 12, you get a bye in the first round. So one less game potentially they would have to play in Kansas City. So it's a big game. It's the last game of the regular season and some tournament seeding on the line. So it'll be an interesting game for the Mountaineers. Now, UCF, not a bad team. They're a little bit better as far as the league record goes, but if they lost, they would drop down to 500. So it's a big game for both teams.
And it's always you want to go out on that high note. I mean,
senior night and all that stuff.
We still got the tournament, to come, but you want to go out on the regular season and at home on a high note.
Yeah, so lots of reasons to be excited about that game tonight for the Mountaineers, even though I know things hasn't been a whole lot to be excited about down the stretch here recently. But a big game for the women also today. They play in the Big 12 tournament against Arizona State. They're on the Baylor side of the bracket. WVU's the 2 seed in that tournament. So they're in the NCAAs, but they're one of those teams. I mean, the top of the Big 12 has been as good as any conference in women's basketball this year, and West Virginia's been right there in that mix. So they could be playing for a trophy this weekend. So every game a big one from now on for the women.
Let's talk about Marshall's basketball teams.
So the men's side, the crazy ending of the Sun Belt season last Friday.
There was 37 teams that were vying for the championship.
Yeah, so I think there were 7 teams that were tied or within a game of winning the regular season championship going into that last day. And pretty much everybody lost except for Troy. And the way the tiebreakers all shook out, it all went in Marshall's favor, and the Herd got the 2 seed. So it's just as good as a 1 seed. You don't get a banner for winning the regular season title, but you get that skip all the way to the semifinals. So the Herd's just sitting on the sidelines watching most of the weekend. Their game will be on Sunday, and there's still a couple of rounds to go before we would know who they play.
Okay.
Women's side, they're playing right now. They're the 5 seed playing the 12 seed South Alabama in the Sun Belt tournament. South Alabama, it's a crazy story. They got in a big fight the other day. A bunch of girls got kicked out of the game. A referee got pushed down.
That was I saw that clip. I didn't realize that was South Alabama because somebody sent me that clip. They texted me.
And that
ref took a shot.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
boom.
like the domino situation in the way the bracket's set up in the Sun Belt, it looked like, South Alabama wins that game a couple days ago, but man, they're without some players. They've had all this drama in the tournament. They'll probably be easy out. Well, they won again yesterday, and now they're beating Marshall. In the fourth quarter, last time I checked, they were up double digits on the Herd, getting kind of late in that one. So might be the end of the road for the Herd women today, unless they've got to come back in them down the stretch here.
Now, a lot of our Metro News sports folks like Fred Persinger and Daniel and others, they're up in Wheeling now for the MEC tournament.
It's been going on all week up in Wheeling. It's quarterfinal day on the men's side. The women are off today. They'll play in the semis tomorrow. On the men's side, all 4 games are today. It's Fairmont State, against Frostburg State. That game was at noon. I haven't seen the result of that, but if it hasn't wrapped up, it should be wrapping up pretty soon. 2:30 Wheeling against Concord, and then the night session, number 1 West Liberty plays Davis and Elkins, and Charleston plays Glenville. So those are the 4 men's games. Semifinal games tomorrow, you got number 1 Glenville State against Fairmont, and then number 7 Frostburg State. Had some upsets along the way, so the Bobcats deeper in the tournament than people thought they might be at this point. They take on Charleston.
Okay, and then the championship is
those are Sundays.
Sunday games. Okay, all right. So any other big games? I know you're a basketball guy. Any other big games around the country that you kind of got your eye on?
So it's kind of you talked about it, what a great time of year it is for basketball fans, especially in West Virginia. We got all the college stuff going on. If you're an NCAA tournament guy, you've got national stuff going on. It's the last weekend of the regular season for a lot of the schools. I know some of the leagues like Sun Belt are already into their tournament, but it sets up some of those big classic rivalry games. UNC Duke is this weekend. Florida Kentucky's this weekend. Looking at the top 25, Michigan State will probably be a pretty good game too. If I had to pick 3 out of the bunch, those would be the 3. But there's no lack of good games this weekend anywhere you look.
I got Tom Bragg with us. We're talking sports, getting you ready for a busy sports weekend. Let's go to high school now. And
lots going on in high school.
Girls State Tournament, of course, will get underway Tuesday. More on that in a moment. And there's been a lot of regional contests. I know there was a big one down in Greenbrier County last night between Greenbrier East and Capital.
Yeah, Region 3 and AAA, the one with all the drama the last couple of weeks about the seeding. Capital ended up having to go on the road. And, man, couldn't get it done. They missed a bunch of foul shots, couldn't really get much of their inside game going, and Greenbrier East played a really good game in a tough place to play. And they got – by the seeding in the region, it was not an upset. But if you look at the statewide polls and everything, it was a pretty big upset.
And there's still – and Daniel and I talked about that last week. There's still a lot of people a lot of Capital fans that were upset, about that seeding and the way it went. And even after the game, the Cougars go down to Greenbrier East and they lose last night, and there's still a lot of talk online about it. Obviously Greenbrier East won the game, but there's still a lot of people that are upset that the seeding happened the way it did to begin with.
Yeah, and I think that one's going to sting for a while. I tried to find the logic and understand the side that went with, well, we're going to put them low in the tournament because they didn't play any regional opponents. But I think Capital's situation was unique this year. It was kind of a late shuffle, getting moved down from 4A to AAA. And Capital's in the MSAC. They play an MSAC schedule. And I'm not one of the people beating the drum like, their schedule was so good because they're in the MSAC. But there's just not a lot of room for non-conference games.
Yeah.
And
there's only so many.
Yeah, and Cookie Miller already had a schedule together, planning on being 4A and not having to play a bunch of Region 3 AAA teams from the southern part of the state. So, the reasons it didn't come together are murky between the he said, she said of the coaches. But it seems like it's a situation that's going to force some action, just as far as Capital's going to have to start making like serious progress towards scheduling more regional teams, and not just in basketball. We've seen it in the non-football sports that all play by the regional playoff method. So you got soccer and volleyball, baseball, stuff like that that'll be affected. But and Capital's come out and said, hey, we're gonna schedule every team in the region from now on. So it'll be interesting to see how things shake out with the Cougars scheduling in the future. But man, it still probably stings how it went down this year, and then you go down and lose at Greenbrier East last night. So going to be a long off season for Cookie Miller and the boys up on the hill, but I think they'll come back and they'll be pretty good next year too.
All right. What about the other high school games, other regionals going on?
So AAA and Single A got started last night. And there's a bunch of big games all over the state. 4A and 2A, they're tonight with the first round of regional games. Starting in 4A in the north. So 4A is different. If you're not familiar, 4A is not the traditional regional setup that we've been used to for years and what the other classes have. It's just a north region and a south region, and 4 teams come out of both sides. So Morgantown's the 1 seed in the north. The game's going on tonight, Hedgesville versus Jefferson. The winner of that game will play Morgantown, and then Preston at Wheeling Park is the other one in the north. In the South, Parkersburg versus Buchanan Upshur. Winner there comes to Charleston next week to play GW, who beat Morgantown last night. I was up at that game. GW looked really good last night. Oak Hill versus Beckley Woodrow Wilson on the other side of that. That's a nice little regional rivalry down there. And the 2A games here locally in the Kanawha Valley in Region 4, Sissonville's at Charleston Catholic, and then down in your neck of the woods, this is always a good one. Scott at Logan tonight. That should be fun.
You know what was interesting about that? During the heyday of the Logan Wildcats of the 1970s and 80s and even beyond that, Logan and Scott didn't play because Logan was AAA.
Yeah, Logan was a bigger school.
And our big, really, when I was in high school, our big rivalry, other than Williamson, our big rivalry was Huntington High, which no longer exists. I mean, not like
old Huntington High.
Yeah. The old Huntington High. That was our big rivalry. But as far as playing like a school, like across the county, like Logan didn't play Chapmanville. We did play Man, but we didn't play Chapmanville. We didn't play Scott.
Man's another one. When I was a kid, I remember Man being a AAA school.
Yeah. And there was no Tug Valley at the time, which is always the big team down there. There was no Tug Valley at the time. So it's just kind of interesting how it's changed now. You mentioned that Logan Scott, always a big rivalry.
Yeah, and full schedule of all the boys' regional stuff over at WVMetroNews.com. But I picked out a couple of games from each of the regions tonight. We just went through Region 4 and Region 3. Indy at Westside tonight could be a good one. If Westside can get the win there, it's the 4-5 game. Westside's the four seed, so they'll be at home. Could set up another Wyoming East Westside game. Wyoming East the 1 seed in that region, so something to keep an eye on maybe down the road, but some work to do tonight for Westside. In Region 1, Ravenswood at Williamstown, another kind of local rivalry, maybe to your point about Logan used to be a little bit bigger, didn't always play Williamstown, or didn't always play the Scott. Ravenswood and Williamstown, they're close, but I don't think, historically over decades and decades, maybe more recently. And in Region 2, out in the Panhandle northern part of the state, Frankfort and Berkeley Springs, I think, could be a good game. Frankfort's been sneaky good, might be able to get out of Region 2. Looking around the rest of the state, though, like I said, full schedule at WVMetroNews.com. There's a lot of really good games going off tonight. And then on the boys' side, while the girls are getting things going over at the Civic Center with the state tournament, they'll be settling up regionals next week.
And the girls' tournament will get underway on Tuesday.
Yes.
Of course, we'll have complete coverage. Good time to remind you that if you've not yet downloaded the MetroNews Television app, make sure that you do, so that way you can catch the game, the championships, and whatnot. And the girls' tournament, it's always exciting time.
Oh, yeah. But tournament time over at the Civic Center, growing up in the Kanawha Valley, going to Nitro High when they had the girls' team with Meg Withrow doing all the great things, going up against those great Renee Montgomery and Alexis Hornbuckle teams. Springtime and tournament time at the Civic Center was always so cool, and one of the cool things for a sports fan here in the Valley, and I imagine the state too, because it's cool. You see the same people from all over the state. I've got friends that I made up in Marion County, North Marion guys, that still, they were kids then, but they're adults. They come with their dads and their brothers. They come down to the state tournament, travel in from all over the country every year. So it's a cool time to be in Charleston if you're a big basketball fan.
There was a couple of stories off of the court in the world of basketball. Of course, we talked about the situation last week with the seeding with Capital, and of course they got beat at Greenbrier East last night. But also this the big fight that took place with Riverside and Parkersburg. And I know everybody's seen the video by now. There it is, and I don't want to say too much, but the investigation is continuing. We don't know how, and I wasn't at the game, so we don't know exactly how chippy it was. But from what I've been told, and all accounts, it was a little chippiness going on there. And one of the JV players, I think, for Parkersburg, kind of got into it there and came out of the stands. That's the allegation. Of course, you see the video; it's not much of an allegation. It's what happened. As somebody who covers high school sports and has done it for many, many years, as you have, I know it's an isolated incident. 99% of the high school games across America, not just in West Virginia, are played without incident. Parents stay where they're supposed to stay. Players, they go on. It's only in the world of the internet and the world of smartphones, that's when everything goes viral. We have a problem, you think, with I don't even want to say with our kids, because sometimes it's parents. Do we have a problem, in your opinion, psychologist Dr. Tom Bragg?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I think there's, like you said, there's isolated incidents, and if you've been around sports at any level, I coach youth soccer, so you see it on the youth soccer sidelines sometimes, just like you see it at a high school basketball game or at a college game or at a pro game sometimes. The fans get too riled up sometimes, and I think that's kind of the nature of sports. I think in this particular incident, if a kid on any team, take this incident away, but if a kid on any team comes out of the stands and starts throwing punches on the floor of a high school game, then you don't get to play anymore. The punishment has to be severe to kind of curb that specific sort of thing. And not just like you don't get to play anymore this year. You're done. If you're a freshman, sorry, buddy, 3 years gone. You don't get to play anymore, and you don't get to transfer down the road and play anymore. It's got to be statewide from the top down enforced, and I think you curb that sort of thing with those sort of repercussions. Yeah.
I think, and again, this is not about this specific incident, but I also think in incidents that we've seen in the past when parents get involved, again, not this incident, but others, when parents get involved, I think it's the same thing. I think that if a parent gets out of their seat, and this is my opinion, non-parent, full disclosure, I think if a parent gets up out of their seat and goes on to the court, they're banned from high school, from attending. I don't care. It's their kid. I don't care if the kid's all state or whatever.
Yeah, you're done.
You're done. You're done across the state. And now I could tell athletic.
It's like the old NBA fight rule for guys on the bench. If you step foot across that line onto the floor, you have committed the big foul. You're done. You're out of here.
Athletic directors around the state of West Virginia are going, well, that's great, Dave and Tom. Now, how are we going to police that? If how are we supposed to know what happened at I'm just using South Charleston. This is not South Charleston. Something happened in South Charleston. How's the athletic director at Greenbrier East supposed to know about it or something like that? I get it. But I think something has to be done because I think we got a much bigger issue. And again, not this incident notwithstanding, I think we got a much bigger issue.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the athletic director thing goes, sorry, guys. I mean, if we want to curb this sort of thing, then it probably starts with that group, with the people who police these sort of things in the buildings. Maybe you have to bring in more security. Maybe the schools that have a resource officer on campus, they've got to make a point of being at every game, and maybe not just some of them. I know some go to just about every game, but something's got to be done. If it really is a problem that people are concerned about and want to try to curb, then it can't just magically happen, right? Someone's got to do something.
As we close, I did want to mention that there was out of the state capitol this week, a lot of the discussion had to do with the high school transfer rule. And it looks like it's going to, I guess, go back to the way it was. Doesn't mean it's going to stay that way because it's going to give it back to the SSAC.
Yeah. And I think that's an important point. It doesn't, if it does go through over at the Capitol, it doesn't immediately kick it back to the way that it was. It just kicks it back to the SSAC to decide how it wants to do it. Now, the SSAC could say, look, we liked it the way it was. We're going back that way. Or they could say, hey, we like it the way it is. We're going to keep it mostly what it's become. I think it'll probably be a little closer to the way it was, but I'm optimistic because the SSAC in recent years has shown a bit of forward thinking and trying to work ahead of things like this and just kind of modernize in general their operations. So I think maybe some tweaks to how the transfers are handled would be in order, but going back to something closer to the way that it used to be, I think it would quiet a lot of the noise around the transfers because there was always transfers. Dave, you're a Logan guy, man. You know all about this. There's always been transfers. There's always been the unspoken side eye at some of the kids showing up at other schools.
Certain people in certain communities that shall remain nameless that kept an apartment, and suddenly a kid again. A kid.
Yeah, this isn't specific. I know you're being funny, but this isn't specific. This went on all over the place.
Mom and dad suddenly now moved across 2 counties, and now they're living in a garage apartment.
I grew up here in the Valley, man. There was a lot of apartments for guys who just got jobs at the chemical companies. All of a sudden, you're right.
Tom Bragg, I got to leave it there. Busy weekend of sports, man. Thanks a lot.
And anytime.
All right, we will take a break and come back after this. Stay with us.
Welcome to Biscuit Country, where joy is measured one ladle at a time. Where smiles come with a side of gravy, warming the soul. Start your morning at Tudor's Biscuit World with our super breakfast. Or dig into the Big Tater. Crispy potatoes topped with eggs and bacon, then crowned with savory gravy. And don't forget the classic, gravy over a biscuit. Welcome to Biscuit Country, where at Tudor's, you're always home.
A degree from Marshall University isn't simply a career path. It's a trust. An opportunity to inhabit the moments that change lives, to make connections that make a difference. With the opportunities of a larger school and the intimate nature usually reserved for one much smaller, you'll find your people, your passion, and yourself at Marshall, all while experiencing the moments that will shape the rest of your life. In person, online, or a mixture of both, join us today. Your moment awaits at Marshall University.
We'll be right back. This is MetroNews Midday. MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Start your new year off right with a new ride from Dan Cava GMC. Come explore our 2026 GMC Acadias. Spacious, smooth, and made for everyday life. It's truly a fan favorite. Drive into winter with a new 2026 GMC Sierra, now up to $12,000 off, or lease as low as $499 a month. So upgrade your ride this year with us at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thora.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Hi, I'm Chris Lawrence. Make plans to join me at the Mountain State's premier fishing, hunting, and outdoor sports show presented by Can-Am, Saturday and Sunday, March 7th and 8th at Milan Park in Morgantown. Over 200 vendor booths and 100,000 square feet of everything outdoors, all under one roof. Great prizes, seminars, and kids fish for free in the Academy Sports Trout Pond. It's the 24th annual West Virginia Fishing, Hunting, and Outdoor Sports Show, March 7th and 8th at Milan Park in Morgantown. Doors open both days at 9 a.m.
Hardwood Heat meets the Mountain State in Charleston. The 2026 West Virginia Girls High School Basketball State Championships, presented by Chick-fil-A. Saturday, March 14th. Every possession, every roar of the crowd, every championship moment live on MetroNews Television, powered by GoMart. Watch on mobile, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, LG TV, and select Samsung Smart TVs. Details at WVMetroNewsTV.com to get in the action.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
When I was heavy, being on my feet all day seemed like torture. It makes you feel defeated. I'm just gonna be like this for the rest of my life. But then I thought, I'm done acting like that. I'm not gonna be like that anymore. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 265 pounds. It's always been my goal to have my own place. I want everyone to feel welcome here. I would never have been able to do all these things before without WVU Medicine.
Start your new year off right with a new ride from Dan Cava GMC. Come explore our 2026 GMC Acadias. Drive into winter with a new 2026 GMC Sierra. Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thora.
Download MetroNews Television on your iPhone or Android. Search MetroNews Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Touchdown!
Welcome back to the show. MetroNews Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Open Line West Virginia is coming up. Stay with us. And now we'll go to the Metro News Anchor Desk for a check of local news. You're listening to Midday on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. The House of Delegates Education Committee approving a bill this afternoon that would allow county school districts to change their school calendars from days to hours. Fayette County Delegate Elliot Pritt, a school teacher, says he has some concerns about the bill, but those don't outweigh what he's heard from people back home.
I have very rarely heard from so many of my coworkers and board members back home on a bill, and I have not heard a single one ask me to vote no.
It's possible some counties could go to 4-day instructional weeks. The bill now goes to the full House of Delegates. Marion County School Superintendent Donna Heston says she's ready to go another year in leading the Marion County system. School board agreed to an extension after initially voting not to renew Heston's contract. She was a guest earlier today on WAJR's Talk of the Town show.
It really isn't about Donna Heston for me, and this month has not been about Donna Heston, but I like to focus on Marion County schools and getting us out of this idle period that we've been in.
Heston says good things continue to happen in Marion County schools. 4 coal miners are being treated for burn injuries after a chemical incident at the Marshall County mine. Marshall County Emergency Management Director Tom Hart says the miners exited the mine Thursday afternoon at the Cameron Portal.
3 crews were responded to that call. The Cameron Volunteer Fire Department was notified as well, and the Marshall County Health Department's decontamination unit was also placed on standby.
Exactly what happened hasn't been released. You're listening to Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Hi, this is Hoppy Kercheval. Events are changing rapidly in the war with Iran, and the outcome of the fight is uncertain. It can be hard to know from day to day, even hour to hour, just what to know about this critical moment in our history. So join me and my guest this coming Monday for a special edition of the second hour of Talkline from 11 to 12, and together we'll try to better understand this seminal event and what it means for our country and our world. That's the second hour of Talkline, 11 to 12 Monday on these Metro News radio stations.
Worried about paying for college? Metro News is proud to present the 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program, where one high school junior in West Virginia will win a full scholarship to West Virginia Wesleyan College, including room, board, tuition, and fees. For details, go to wvmetronews.com and click the Apply Now button. Deadline is May 3rd. The 2026 West Virginia Scholar Program, presented by Greer Industries and the West Virginia Hospital Association. Go to wvmetronews.com and apply today by May 3rd.
Those who knew a Kanawha County woman killed in a fiery crash on Interstate 64 Thursday in Putnam County are mourning her death today. Authorities say Angela Bourne was driving on I-64 when an out-of-control driver struck her vehicle from behind, causing her death. He's in jail. Angela Bourne was a strawberry farmer and operated a farm along with a bed and breakfast with her husband in the Clendenin area. She was the mother of 6 children. You can read more at wvmetronews.com. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
The YMCA is just a starting line, for the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. My why is diversity and unity, a safe space in my community, living with sincerity, giving every day my everything. With my why, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror, and everyone belongs. Find your why. Learn more at ymca.org. for a better us.
This is Metro News Midday, presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com.
Welcome back to the show. Friday edition Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit SalangoLaw.com. Dave Allen in the host chair with you. Ryan Nicholson, our producer today. If you're a parent or a grandparent of a child who's a junior in high school, this is for you. The opportunity for the kid to get a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan, room, board, tuition, and fees all included. 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. Deadline to enter, though, is May 3rd. Full details available at wvmetronews.com. Simply click on the Apply Now button. Again, May 3rd is the deadline, wvmetronews.com. That's where all the info is. And the 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. Open Line West Virginia coming up, 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. I do want to get to this breaking news, though, out of Mason County. We understand that a bridge connecting West Virginia and the state of Ohio has been shut down to a reported barge strike. Now, this information is from the Meigs County, Ohio Sheriff's Department. Just after 2 o'clock this afternoon, they came out with this announcement about this closure. No word on yet when the bridge will reopen. West Virginia Department of Transportation will be inspecting the bridge, according to those in Meigs County, Ohio. A developing story. We'll have more on it. But again, this just breaking within the last 30 minutes to an hour or so. Actually, more like 30 to 40 minutes, I should say. It's a bridge connecting Ohio and West Virginia, and it has been shut down due to a barge strike. Meigs County, Ohio Sheriff's Office said the closure happened just before 2 this afternoon. No word on yet when that bridge will reopen. We'll have more information as it becomes available on air and at wvmetronews.com. Quickly, I just want to say thank you to Dale Cooper and Andrew Donaldson for sitting in for me in the final hour of Metro News Midday. We had to let Amanda Barron fly the ship solo yesterday. I was off due to a medical situation. I had to have a medical procedure done. Not going to go into all the details. You don't want to know, but it was related to prostate cancer. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm back. I'm rebuilt, and now I'm more valuable because I have gold. And those of you that know what I'm talking about, I'll leave it there. It was interesting, to say the least. And they tell me on Monday, I'll be here on Monday, but before, like early morning, like 7 a.m., before I even do the local show in Charleston, I got to go for another small procedure as well. But it's all on the road to recovery, and, hopefully that's what it is anyway. But feel fine, but time to time I got to back away from the microphone a little bit and let others, do some of the heavy lifting. Coop, Andrew Donaldson, thank you so much, and Amanda and everybody that filled in for me yesterday. But we'll be back again on Monday. That's if I survive this giant shot that they say they have to give me on Monday. If not, then I'm whimpering like a small child in a fetal position. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. I wanted to mention something on the air here. And I want you to hear me out of this, okay? And then I'll get to your texts and phone calls, I promise. I went into a little bit of this on the local show in Charleston today. I've been away from the microphone. I was away yesterday. And by now, the situation that happened a couple days ago at the Capitol, where there were students from Capitol High School that came to the Capitol, as in the West Virginia State Capitol, for an anti-ICE protest. And there was a little, obviously very controversial, and they did it, about 60 or so Capitol High School students. And there were people that took to social media and said that this was terrible, this should not be allowed, so on and so forth. And there's certainly, that is everybody's right, to say that, and I get it. There were members of the legislature, one who is Delegate Kathy Hess-Krause out of Putnam County, and she's been on this show numerous times, known Delegate Krause for a number of years. We don't agree on everything politically, but she and I agree to disagree on certain things. Otherwise, we're pretty good friends. Delegate Kathy Hess-Krause took to social media and mentioned she had a lot of questions about that protest at the Capitol. Things like, and I'm not going to list all of them in the interest of time, but things like, were there school buses involved in taking these kids to the Capitol to protest the ICE situation? Were parents notified? Were they excused absences? So on and so forth. And again, I have no issue with her asking those questions at all. Later in the day, there were statements issued from the Kanawha County Board of Education and also from Capitol High School that answer the questions, saying that this was totally student-led. There was rumors that kids got extra credit in certain classes from certain teachers for taking part in this protest. That was not true. No tax dollars were used in getting the students there. Students drove themselves. Again, student-led. And there were about 60 or some odd students there. I saw many of them interviewed on some of the television newscasts and so on and so forth. And there were people that were upset about it, and there were people that were cheering them on. And as I'm watching this whole thing, play out on social media a couple nights ago, this is my takeaway from it, okay? First of all, and with all due respect, I am going to come in and I'm going to make everybody mad because that's what I do, okay? But I will say, hear me out, I thought it was kind of silly, because not really sure what the West Virginia legislature can do about this. That having been said, this is where I make the other half mad. Although I may not have agreed with the students and with their protest, I applaud them for caring enough to get involved. I applaud them for caring enough to put down the phones and to go do something. And I thought, here's my takeaway from it, okay? Again, I may not have agreed with it, but that's okay. I am. It makes me happy to see our, as Rush Limbaugh would say, our youths get involved in something and to care enough about something. Now, some of these students were part of the Democratic Club at Capitol High School. As one of the students pointed out, there is no Republican Club at Capitol High School. I know a lot of schools that have Democrat and Republican clubs. Matter of fact, one particular high school I know of a couple of years ago, the Republican and the Democratic Club came together for voter registration, which I thought was really, really cool. To those that are that upset about the protest, though, I would just pose a question. And this is all I'm doing, your radio buddy Dave, just posing a question here. Ask yourself this question. Would you be as upset if the students would have left to attend a vigil for the late Charlie Kirk? Would you have been as upset about this had it been something, an anti-abortion protest? Any conservative leaning things? If it were to be for a World Prayer Day or something like that. And again, I applaud students for caring about any of those things. But just ask yourself this question. All the outrage that was on social media from people saying, this is terrible, these kids, blah, blah, blah. Would you feel the same way if it were more right-leaning? If it were more Republican, more conservative-leaning? Would you feel the same way? If your answer is that you would be just as upset, then I applaud you because you're consistent in your thoughts. But if not, free speech. Just saying. All right? But if you go along with the thought process, the students should never be doing it on both sides, then you got my respect. Text says, they want to talk about the transfer rule. Should have never happened to begin with. Kids need to play in the neighborhoods where they live, period, unless the whole family moves, says the texter. Text says, I live on Trace Creek Road, Putnam County. Saw a Jeep Cherokee went by my house going fast, maybe 50 miles an hour. That's fast on Trace Creek, says a texter. Text says, please explain to me, like I'm a 5-year-old. We take time on machine guns and cabaret laws that are so vague, I'm afraid to go swimming this summer. But we take no time on a law that would have saved children. Chalk one up for the bad guys, Republicans, says the texter. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304, talk 304. 2:43, we'll take a break and come back after this.
Starting March 10th, Metro News brings you the 2026 West Virginia SSAC High School Basketball Championships presented by Chick-fil-A.
First title for Spring Mills and boys basketball.
The best teams in the state will once again meet at the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center to compete for the title in their respective classes. The girls tournament runs March 10th through 14th. The boys play March 17th through the 21st. Catch all the games on the Metro News Radio Network and at WVMetroNews.com, where you'll also find up-to-the-minute scoring, stats, and brackets, the latest tournament news, and game recaps. Also, you can watch the live HD video streams of the class championships both Saturdays on MetroNews Television.
The luck and skill of the Irish, they win the AA championship.
The 2026 West Virginia SSAC State High School Basketball Championships beginning March 10th, presented by Chick-fil-A, exclusively on Metro News, the voice of high school basketball in West Virginia. We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
When I was heavy, being on my feet all day seemed like torture. Makes you feel defeated. I'm just gonna be like this for the rest of my life. But then I thought, I'm done acting like that. I'm not gonna be like that anymore. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 265 pounds. It's always been my goal to have my own place. I want everyone to feel welcome here. I would never have been able to do all these things before without WVU medicine.
Hardwood Heat meets the Mountain State in Charleston. The 2026 West Virginia Girls High School Basketball State Championships, presented by Chick-fil-A. Saturday, March 14th. Every possession, every roar of the crowd, every championship moment live on MetroNews Television, powered by GoMart. Watch on mobile, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, LG TV, and select Samsung Smart TVs. Details at WVMetroNewsTV.com to get in the action.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
On the next State of Minds.
I came here to Morgantown, the WVU. I wanted to play football. Tried to walk on, but I was humbled very quickly. So I joined the WVU forestry team. What my father taught me was the importance of hard work and the importance of sweat equity.
Hi, I'm Chris Lawrence. Make plans to join me at the Mountain State's premier fishing, hunting, and outdoor sports show presented by Can-Am, Saturday and Sunday, March 7th and 8th at Milan Park in Morgantown. Over 200 vendor booths and 100,000 square feet of everything outdoors, all under one roof. Great prizes, seminars, and kids fish for free in the Academy Sports Trout Pond. It's the 24th annual West Virginia Fishing, Hunting, and Outdoor Sports Show, March 7th and 8th at Milan Park in Morgantown. Doors open both days at 9 a.m.
American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Welcome back to the show. We have 12 minutes away from 3 o'clock. Don't forget, it's going down this weekend in Morgantown, state's premier outdoor sports show. 24th annual West Virginia Fishing, Hunting, and Outdoor Sports Show presented by Can-Am. Milan Park in Morgantown, Saturday and Sunday, over 100,000 square feet of everything outdoors. Over 200 vendors all to one spot. Complete details, WVOutdoorSportsShow.com. WVRC Media Event. Reminder, Chris Lawrence will be doing a live edition of West Virginia Outdoors on the MetroNews Radio Network starting at 7:06 tomorrow morning. Then after that, 10 to noon, a special show on our Morgantown station, WAJR, as Chris will be interviewing folks from the crowd there on WAJR in Morgantown. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. During the break there, I had it on TV there. I was watching former President Barack Obama giving his speech at the Jesse Jackson Celebration of Life service going on in Chicago right now. I'll tell you, whether you like the guy or you didn't like the guy, he still gives one heck of a speech. He really, really does. Text said, Dave, did you really say extraction sciences? Dave, really? Yes, I did. Text says, if Trump really thinks his war of choice is justified, he should prove it by sending Melania's son Barron to fight in the war. Text says, Dave, you can't die on us. You make listening to the radio fun. Ain't got no plans of that. Text says, students need to keep their blanks in school, period. Okay. Fair enough. If that's the way texter, appreciate the text. As long as you are consistent in that message, 100%. Text says, Delegate Krause should be more responsible with her rhetoric. It's that kind of blind frustration rage typing brought on by preconceived ideas that has politics where it is. They should lead by example and do better. Text says, thank God we have a president like Donald Trump that'll stand up to terrorists like Iran. Text says, if those kids left school to gather for Charlie Kirk, I think they're misguided dorks, but I'd support their right to do so. Consistency my friend, consistency. Appreciate that. Texas Dale Lee for governor. I don't know whether Mr. Lee wants to be governor or not. I think he's got his I heard him on Talk Line today. He's been on MetroNews Midday several times in the past, and I don't think Dale Lee wants to be governor. Text says, Dave, you kill me. I've been told that before. You act like all the legislature should focus on is the economy. While that is important, so is morality, says a texter. Yeah, but whose morality? Text says Midday needs more Dale Lee. The Dale Lee fan club is out in full effect. I will say this, that anytime Mr. Lee wants on the show, he is more than welcome. As I said, he was on Talk Line earlier today. He is more than welcome on the show. Text says, Dave, Delegate Krause had no problem with her homeschoolers dragging their grade school-age kids to the Capitol and having them sit in committee meetings trying to pressure delegates to vote for the no-hope handouts, says a texter. Again, I just want, as I said earlier, I just want consistency. That's what I want. And I think if one, and look, Delegate Krause, again, as I said, full disclosure, been a friend of mine for many, many years. We don't agree on everything politically, but that's okay. I've had her on both shows, this show and my local show, many, many times. Consider her to be a good friend. We don't always agree, but that's okay. But she asked questions on social media, and the questions were answered. And she then, in turn, came back and said, my questions were answered. And that's pretty much all she had to say. At that point. Text says, Dave, I agree with you. Ban parents from Little League and high school games. Well, to be fair, I didn't say ban them all. I said if we continue down the road that we are on now in many cases, and this is not a West Virginia thing, I'm talking everywhere, where parents and others in the crowd don't know their place, and their place is to stay in the stands, then, I mean, you want to cheer for the team? Yeah. You want to yell at the refs? Yeah, you can disagree, I think. But in my opinion, when parents or fans of any kind come out of the stands, you're done. I don't care what's going on the court or on the field. You're done. There's security there for a reason. There's referees there for a reason. There are other coaches that do a pretty good job of keeping everybody separated, in the words of the Offspring. So you come out of the stands in Dave world, you come out of the stands, you're done forever. 2:53, we'll take a break, and we'll wrap it up after this.
We'll be right back. This is MetroNews Midday. MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
It's 4 words no parent should ever hear. Your child is sick. It's 4 words that change everything. Those 4 words can define a family. It's 4 words that are filled with pain, heartache, and grief. And with those 4 words, the innocence and joy of childhood disappears. But Starlight has taught us 4 other words that make all the difference. The power of play. Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation delivers happiness through gaming, toy deliveries, and more to 3 million kids at more than 700 hospitals across the country to deliver happiness when it matters most. Learn more at starlight.org.
Listen, I'm a West Virginian through and through. Grew up in Bridgeport, 35 years in the Charleston area. Rooted for the Mountaineers since, well, let's not talk ages. You won't find a bigger fan of our teams, but they get called out when they deserve it. MetroNews Hotline is the same for everything. Movies, music, local happenings, my inside knowledge, and occasional rants. Meet Coop's sharp humor, guaranteed to spark good talk radio. Think you can keep up? We're your afternoon anecdote to the ordinary on weekdays 3 to 6 on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Each year, more than 23,000 kids experience cardiac arrest, and nearly 20% are infants. You always say that I'm your whole heart. I believe you, and so does the American Heart Association. That's why this American Heart Month, they want to make sure that you and every other parent know CPR. to make sure you are ready. Ready for when I come home? Ready as I grow? Ready to save my life when it matters most. Learn CPR today so you can be ready and become a part of the nation of lifesavers. Because no one, especially me, should face a life-changing moment alone.
Visit heart.org/nation to learn more.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or whether anyone cares about them.
But the reality is, 1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year.
For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis and giving them the support and tools they need to succeed in life. To learn more, go to covenanthouse.org today. Thank you for caring.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the show. 3 away from the top of the hour. Text says, apple to oranges, murder protest against law enforcement. Geez, Logan Man from Georgia, says the texture. They know my history. Text says, Dave, glad you're doing well and feeling well. We're thinking of you. Hey, just drove down to Taze Valley, then up Route 35. Man, you're right. People driving crazy fast. Where's the law? Says the texture. Text says, wasn't the person at the Parkersburg game a student, not a parent? Yes. Yes, that is all indications it was a JV player. But I'm just saying in general. I really wasn't talking specifically about that. But, I mean, again, this is just me. With all due respect to that player or whomever it is, I think you leave the stands, you're done. Whether it's a player, you're done. Whether it's a parent, you're done. You ain't coming back.
What if I got to go to the bathroom?
Well, that's different. You don't rush the court to go to the bathroom. You would rush the court if they said 3 hot dogs left.
Oh, you know that.
Then you would rush the court.
But if I see the curtain is coming down on the hot chocolate stand, man. Yeah, I'm there. I got to get in there.
You're pushing over old ladies and pushing the cheerleaders down. And
get out of my way.
Get out of my way, Ethel. They're closing down the hot chocolate stand. Mr. Weekly's coming up with the hotline in many of these same Metro News stations. What you got?
Question of the day: are you scared of the dark?
No,
because some very famous. Well, this is gonna be a really short show. There are some very famous people who admit they are afraid of the dark for various reasons.
I know you've probably done weird phobias in the past, okay? Do you know not long ago I read an interview with Billy Bob Thornton that he is afraid of antiques? Well, Google it. Look at it.
That is hilarious.
Billy Bob Thornton, who I love in Landman. You and I share that. We both love Landman.
Right.
Billy Bob Thornton is afraid of antiques.
Are they haunted?
He just can't. He just doesn't like to be in the same room with antiques.
No, I can't. We can't be friends if you like that coffee
I have
grinder.
no problem hanging out with antiques. I'm with you.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Weekly and the crew coming up with hotline on many of these same Metro News stations. Folks, get out there and enjoy the weather before the storms come in. It beats the alternative. We'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend. Till then, have fun and love somebody.